Welcome. I'm Philip Dobard.
And I'm Tracey Mitchell.
And this is Culinary Quickies, a series featuring dishes that aren't necessarily quick, but the episodes certainly are. Tracey, what are you making?
Stuffed Mirliton.
Stuffed Mirliton?
Yes.
You mean stuffed Mirlitons?
Stuffed Mirlitons, yeah.
Tracy and I both grew up in New Orleans, where this is colloquially known as stuffed Mirlitons. They're made with chayote, this squash sitting right here, yes?
Yes.
All right.
And there are many other names for it, too.
There are many other names for this. Briefly, this is the 6th in a series of 8 episodes celebrating Cajun and Creole cuisines.
Yes.
Now, this is a classic Creole dish, yes?
Well,
There's a well. There's always a well.
both Cajuns and Creoles claim this as their dish.
Okay.
A lot of people think that Cajun and Creole foods are highly seasoned, but this one is a delicate, and not only is it delicate, but it's comfort food. So
yeah, this is not something you see on a lot of restaurant menus.
No,
is it? Traditionally, you see this is very much a home kitchen dish.
yeah, but I have to say that more and more now, people are becoming much more interested in trying different things. And so you will see this, you're seeing this on menus in New Orleans, of course, and in Southeast and Southwest Louisiana.
Okay.
But I've seen it outside too.
All right, so it's gaining currency, as it
Yes,
were,
it is.
in the hospitality world.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now, chayote, this has several names you mentioned.
Yes.
Mirliton is one, chayote is another. It's also known as what? Choko, chou, and in the Eastern Caribbean, christophene.
Christophene, yes.
Christophene, all right, well, very
And
good.
it's used in a lot of cuisines. In fact, it's used in Asian cuisines as well.
Wow. Okay, well, very good. Listen, I'm not going to waste any more of our viewers' time or your time, and I just know that you're going to cook up something christophene with this christophene.
So, boom, 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 boom. Good night, good night. Oops. No, it's not a chorus of Muppets. And it's not baby pod people. These are Mirliton squash. They have a sort of a leathery exterior. It's kind of waxy, and but the inside is very tender. But we have to boil them to get them to that stage. And most of this center is taken up with a flat, sort of paddle-shaped seed, which we'll remove, and I'll show you how to do that after we've boiled them. So we're going to put them into a pan or pot with water to cover, and you can see you want them to have plenty of water. So we're going to put them on for about 20 to 30 minutes, and that'll tenderize these. I'm going to poke this Mirliton with a fork to see if it's softened up, and it has, but I still feel a little resistance, so we're going to give it a few more minutes. Mirliton have boiled and are now ready to be removed, but they're too hot to handle. So we need to let them cool some. I'm going to brown the sausage now with a little olive oil. When you're browning the sausage, make sure that you don't mash it into the pan. Just break it apart lightly. I'm using a highly seasoned breakfast sausage. It's got a lot of sage in it, which is great in this recipe. You could use cubed ham or cubed smoked sausage. Those would do. In fact, cubed ham is traditional. However, I prefer sausage. It has a better, lighter texture and mouthfeel. It's a little on the gray side, but you can see that some pieces are starting to brown. We don't have to cook it too much further than this because it's going to spend time in the oven. The sausage didn't produce a lot of fat, so I'm just going to work with this and use it to cook the shrimp. This will happen very quickly. All we're doing is watching for the shrimp to turn pink. I'm going to saute the onions, celery, and garlic now, so it should be a great aroma in this kitchen in just a minute. So again, we'll put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. So we're sweating the vegetables until they become translucent and aromatic, get a little color, and then we'll be ready to mix everything together. All right, they're done. Our mirlitons have cooled off. We're going to slice them in half lengthwise, and then we're going to take out the seed. So let me show you how to do that. You see the cleavage at the bottom, so we want to line the knife up with that. There we go. Here's the seed. All we need to do is just scoop it right out, and there shouldn't be any resistance. It's pretty easy. All right, now we scoop out the inside. So now it's a hollowed out canoe. It doesn't have to look too pretty on the inside. After all, we're stuffing it. So I'm going to turn them upside down so they can drain because there's a lot of liquid in them. They don't all cook at the same rate. You want to soften them. You want to soften them so much that you get a hole in your boat. So we're going to patch that with a little bit of membrane. See? You can't even see. I'm going to chop this up a little before I start mashing. Use a potato masher, any kind of masher. I suppose you could put this in a food processor. However, you don't want to break it up so much that it becomes puree. There's a lot of liquid in here, so I'm going to pour some of that off. We don't want it to be super wet. So, as you can see, we poured off a lot of liquid. You can sort of squeeze it as you go. It doesn't have to be all of the liquid, just most of it. Before we mix everything together, we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We've mashed the mirliton and we've assembled everything, so now it's time to combine all the ingredients. So into our mashed mirliton squash, we're going to add celery, onions, and garlic. Seasoned breadcrumbs, salt, cayenne pepper, fresh ground pepper, Parmesan and Romano cheeses, parsley. I'm going to save a little for the tops. Melted butter, and our egg. Sausage. Now I'm going to add the shrimp. So everything's been combined. You need to prepare a dish with a little olive oil so that they don't stick to the bottom. Start stuffing. So you can bring it all the way out to the edge. Again, if you get a hole in your boat, plug it with a piece of Mirliton. There's my plug. The stuffing's holding it in place. The oven's been preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I think we need to finish these off before we pop them in the oven. So I'm going to add a little extra breadcrumb to have some texture on top. Also adding a little bit of paprika for color and a few bits of parsley on the top as well. There.
So, stuffed mirliton.
Stuffed Mirliton.
Or chayote.
Or
christophene, or pale green summer squash, known all over the world by a variety of names.
Yes.
I think it's time to taste.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
I can't read.
Neither can I.
Speechless once again.
Can't speak. Chewy. Oh my God. Any final words?
Yes, I really enjoyed making these recipes for everyone. This was a true joy and a trip home for me.
This is wonderful. This is the stuffed mirliton of my youth. It's a wonderful Creole dish.
Cajun.
Excuse either way. Anyway, more episodes to come in this series celebrating Cajun and Creole. Melissa's Produce provides all of the produce used in this series. A big thank you. Find us on social media. Like us on Facebook.
Subscribe.
To us on YouTube, the Center for Culinary Culture. Back next week.
Yes.
More deliciousness.
Absolutely.
Until then.
Bye.